Learn English from quotes. Deng Xiaoping 20210227. Regardless of white or black cats, a good cat can catch mice. A good system in these areas can prevent bad people from running arbitrarily. A bad system can prevent good people from doing good things fully, or even go to the opposite side. Knowing oneself is not an easy task. People often exaggerate their good sides, forgive their weaknesses, and often regard weaknesses as strengths. Only through our own efforts and the help of others can we discover our weaknesses, re-understand ourselves, and reform ourselves. When talking about mistakes, we should not only talk about Comrade Mao Zedong. Many responsible comrades of the Central Committee have made mistakes. During the Great Leap Forward, Comrade Mao Zedong's head is hot. Shall we not be hot? Comrades Liu Shaokai, Zhou Enlai, and I did not object, and Comrade Chen Yun did not speak. Be fair on these issues and don't create an impression that everyone else is correct and only one person makes a mistake. This is not true. The central authorities are not responsible for the mistakes made by one individual, but collectively. In these aspects, it is necessary to use Marxism-Leninism in combination with actual analysis to make contributions and develop. The essence of socialism is to liberate productive forces, develop productive forces, eliminate exploitation, eliminate polarization, and ultimately achieve common prosperity. More planning or more markets is not the essential difference between socialism and capitalism. A planned economy is not equal to socialism, and capitalism has plans. A market economy is not equal to capitalism, and socialism has a market. Both planning and the market are economic instruments. It depends on whether the surname is capital or society. The standard of judgment should mainly be based on whether it is conducive to the development of the productive forces of a socialist society, whether it is conducive to enhancing the comprehensive national strength of a socialist country, and whether it is conducive to improving people's lives level. So, where is the superiority of socialism? There are mainly two aspects. One is that the productivity is developing faster and higher than capitalism. The other is that the results of the development of productivity should be attributed to the improvement of people's living standards and gradually realize common prosperity. We adhere to socialism. To build socialism that is superior to capitalism, we must first get rid of poverty. Poverty is not socialism, and too slow development is not socialism, egalitarianism is not socialism, and polarization is not socialism. The purpose of socialism is to make the people of the whole country prosper together, not to be polarized. If our policies lead to polarization, we will fail. If a new bourgeoisie is created, then we will really go down the wrong path. To get rich together, we have said from the beginning of the reform that one day it will become a central issue in the future. Socialism is not about the fact that a few people get rich and most people are poor. It's not like that. The greatest advantage of socialism is common prosperity, which is a thing that reflects the essence socialism. If there is polarization, the situation will be different. Ethnic contradictions, interregional contradictions, and class contradictions will develop. Correspondingly, the contradictions between the central and local governments will also develop, and chaos may occur. Compared with capitalism, the superiority of socialism lies in its ability to achieve a nationwide game of chess, concentrating forces and ensuring key points. Give full play to the advantages of the socialist system that can concentrate on doing big things. Partial retreat is necessary. Some unrealistic and high targets that are more harmful and less profitable to the entire economy must be resolutely lowered, Some poorly managed and severely loss-making enterprises must be rectified within a time limit, or even stopped for rectification. Take one step back to advance two steps. Reform is China's second revolution. This is a must, although it is a risky thing. The policy toward reform is, be bold, take steady steps, take one step, and look at one step. China's policy is unswerving and will not waver. It will continue to work. It is important to sum up experience after a period of time. Now I want to affirm two sentences. The first sentence is that the policy for establishing special economic zones is correct. The second sentence is that special economic zones are still an experiment. Don't argue, just to buy time to do it. We still need to be open. We can't close the door, and the information is not working. What kind of tracking new technology, catching up with the world's advanced level, is not going to be possible without opening? I always tell my comrades not to be afraid of taking risks and to be bolder. If you are afraid of wolves and tigers, you will not be able to go. When we deal with problems, it is impossible to have no risk at all, and we are not afraid to take some risks. Don't take any risks. You can be 100% sure of everything you do, and you are foolproof. Who dares to say such a thing? I was self-righteous at the beginning and thought it was 100% correct. Nothing like that, I never thought that way. Without the spirit of trespassing, the spirit of risking, without a breath of energy and energy, one would not be able to walk a good path or start a new career. Do it boldly, sum up experience every year, stick to what's right, correct things that aren't right, and solve new problems as soon as possible. Constantly sum up experience, so at least not to make big mistakes. The mind should be more liberated, bolder, and faster. Seek truth from facts, proceed from reality in everything, integrate theory with practice, and practice as the criterion for testing truth. This is our ideological line. To emancipate the mind is to make the mind compatible with reality, and to make the subjective and objective correspond, and it is to seek truth from facts. We must serve the people wholeheartedly, and listen to them deeply. We must dare to speak the truth, oppose falsehood, and do more practical work. We must distinguish between public and private, and do not exchange favors with principles. We must appoint people on their merits and oppose cronyism. We have to find a way out, so that talented people can grow up quickly, and don't keep getting stuck with talents. Talents are constantly pouring out, and our career has hope. We are not without talents. The question is whether we can organize and use them well, mobilize their enthusiasm, and give full play to their expertise. Being good at discovering talents, uniting talents, and using talents is one of the main signs of a leader's maturity. It is not that we have too many talents, but that the real talents have not been well discovered, and found that they have not been used decisively. There will be different opinions on everyone, and they will not be completely consistent. If you have any shortcomings, you can talk to him clearly, and you should use people freely. Generally speaking, we don't pay enough attention to the issue of using talents. This universal truth cannot be realized if you leave your own country's characteristics to forcefully move foreign things. The kid is bad, it's time to spank. If you make up your mind, you have to be tenacious and unwavering. It doesn't matter if something goes wrong, it can't scare us. A fundamental contradiction does not exist between socialism and a market economy. Absorbing foreign capital and technology and even allowing foreigners to construct plants in China can only play a complementary role to our effort to develop the productive forces in a socialist society. Of course, this will bring some decadent capitalist influences into China. We are aware of this possibility, it's nothing to be afraid of. According to Marx, socialism is the first stage of communism, and it covers a very long historical period in which we must practice the principle to each according to his work and combine the interests of the state, the collective and the individual, for only thus can we arouse people's enthusiasm for labor and develop socialist production. At the higher stage of communism, when the productive forces will be greatly developed and the principle from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs will be practiced, personal interests will be acknowledged still more and more personal needs will be satisfied. Be reasonable with the students and make sure they see the logic in what we're doing. Chairman Mao creatively applied Marxism-Leninism to every aspect of the Chinese Revolution, and he had creative views on philosophy, political science, military science, literature, and art, and so on. Unfortunately, in the evening of his life, particularly during the Cultural Revolution, he made mistakes, and they were not minor ones, which brought many misfortunes upon our party, our state, and our people. Chairman Mao was after all a principal founder of the Chinese Communist Party and the People's Republic of China. In evaluating his merits and mistakes, we hold that his mistakes were only secondary. What he did for the Chinese people can never be erased. In our hearts we Chinese will always cherish him as a founder of our party and our state. Chairman Mao's greatest contribution was that he applied the principles of Marxism-Leninism to the concrete practice of the Chinese Revolution, pointing the way to victory. It should be said that before the 60s or the late 50s many of his ideas brought us victories, and the fundamental principles he advanced were quite correct. China has a history of thousands of years of feudalism and is still lacking in socialist democracy and socialist legality. We are now working earnestly to cultivate socialist democracy and socialist legality. Only in this way can we solve the problem. Do not debate is one of my inventions. I would be quite content if I myself could be rated 50-50 in merits and demerits. But one thing I can say for myself, I have had a clear conscience all my life. Please mark my words, I have made quite a few mistakes, and I have my own share of responsibility for some of the mistakes made by Comrade Mao Zedong. But it can be said that I made my mistake with good intentions. There is nobody who doesn't make mistakes. If the masses feel some anger, we must let them express it. In China, we are considering ways of resolving our problems by improving our institutions. In China, we intend to acquire advanced technology, science, and management skills to serve our socialist production. And these things as such have no class character. Keep a cool head and maintain a low profile. Never take the lead, but aim to do something big. Let some people get rich first. Mao Zedong thought was not created by Comrade Mao alone, other revolutionaries of the older generation played a part in forming and developing it, but primarily it embodies Comrade Mao's thinking. Nevertheless, victory made him less prudent, so that in his later years some unsound features and unsound ideas, chiefly left ones, began to emerge. In quite a number of instances he went counter to his own ideas, counter to the fine and correct propositions he had previously put forward, and counter to the style of work he himself had advocated. No matter to what degree China opens up to the outside world and admits foreign capital, its relative magnitude will be small and it can't affect our system of socialist public ownership of the means of production. Not only did Mao Zedong thought lead us to victory in the revolution in the past, it is, and will continue to be, a treasured possession of the Chinese Communist Party and of our country. That is why we will forever keep Chairman Mao's portrait on Tiananmen Gate as a symbol of our country, and we will always remember him as a founder of a party and state. Moreover, we will adhere to Mao Zedong thought. We will not do to Chairman Mao what Khrushchev did to Stalin. Observe calmly, secure our position, cope with affairs calmly, hide our capacities and bide our time, be good at maintaining a low profile, and never claim leadership. Poverty is not socialism. To be rich is glorious. Reform is China's second revolution. Seek truth from facts. The United States brags about its political system, but the president says one thing during the election, something else when he takes office, something else at midterm and something else when he leaves. There is oil in the Middle East, there is rare earth in China. To get rich is glorious. We cannot say that everything developed in capitalist countries is of a capitalist nature. For instance, technology, science, even advanced production management is also a sort of science, will be useful in any society or country. We must firmly grasp management. Just making things isn't enough. We need to raise the quality. We must make a clear distinction between the nature of Chairman Mao's mistakes and the crimes of Lin Biao and the Gang of Four. For most of his life, Chairman Mao did very good things. Many times he saved the party and the state from crisis. Without him the Chinese people would, at the very least, have spent much more time groping in the dark. We mustn't fear to adopt the advanced management methods applied in capitalist countries. The very essence of socialism is the liberation and development of the productive systems. Socialism and market economy are not incompatible. We should be concerned about right-wing deviations, but most of all, we must be concerned about left-wing deviations. We should not lay all past mistakes on Chairman Mao. So we must be very objective in assessing him. His contributions were primary, his mistakes secondary. In China, we will inherit the many good things in Chairman Mao's thinking while at the same time explaining clearly the mistakes he made. Young leading cadres have risen up by helicopter. They should really rise step by step. Emancipate the mind, seek truth from facts and look forward in unity. Feedback.